Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ki Jai. Jai Shri Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Pradikacharya Stotra Shat Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Shri Rupanuga Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudeva Ki Jai. Televisão Vishnu Pada Stotra Shat Shri Bhakti Vedanta Shri Rupanuga Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Televisão Vishnu Pada Stotra Shat Shri Bhakti Vedanta Shri Narayana Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Televisão Vishnu Pada Shri Bhakti Pragya Keshava Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Televisão Vishnu Pada Stotra Shat Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Televisão Vishnu Pada Stotra Shat Shila Paramahansa Guru Ksharodas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Televisão Satchidananda Shila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Bom Jagannatha Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shila Rupanuga Guruvarga Ki Jai. Shila Krishna Gopa Gopi Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shama Kundarada Kunda Jamuna Gunga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Vyasadeva Goswami Ki Jai. Guru Purnima Ki Jai. Jai Shri Guru Purnima Ki Jai. Jai Shri Sanatana Goswami Ki Jai. Tete Shubhatira Bhavtiti Ki Jai. Tete Palakare Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Ntai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Jnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namayom Vishnu Padaya Gaura Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Vanaiti Namine Vandeham Bhakti Chakoram Gauranganija Preshtitam Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Vanam Namastubhyam Shri Radhaika Nishtitam Rasayana Katamritam Sankirtanam Anandadam Goswaminam Vanam Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Om Vrindaya Tulasi Devai Priyaya Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, my obeisances to my spiritual master, Om Vishnupad, Paramahansa Parivajikacharya Stotrashat, Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta, Shilabhanu Goswami Maharaj, Suparam Gurudev Nitile Pravistam Vishnupad Stotrashat, Shishimad Bhakti Vedanta, Shilavamana Goswami Maharaj, Nitile Pravistam Vishnupad Stotrashat, Shila Bhakti Vedanta, Shilanarayan Goswami Maharaj. To all the group Shilapanu Guruvarga, all assembled devotees, all Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, to all of you who are here, my Dandavat Pranams to all of you. So today is auspicious day, Ashari Purnima, Guru Purnima, the whole day. We've been hearing Harikatha, we've been also repeating this Harikatha about Shri Vyasadeva and the glories of Srila Sanatana Goswami Pada, glories of Guruvarga. So, even though today, on Wednesday, we read Bhakti Tata Vivek because of the super excellent auspicious day, we will remember some of that Harikatha and maybe read also directly from Gurudev's class. And so today is a super excellent auspicious day. Actually, if it was the Zoom, everybody could speak a little bit. That would be nice. But now we're only on YouTube. So we have to understand what is Guru Puja, Vyasa Puja. So let's first understand about, there's so many different kathas related to today. Especially about the main thing today is the appearance day of Vyasadeva, who is the Shakti Aveshavatar, Gyan Shakti Aveshavatar. There are many kinds of Shakti Aveshavatar, means incarnations of Lord that are given some special power. Vyasadeva is Gyan Shakti Aveshavatar. So he is invested with knowledge to be able to do all the Vedas, right? So the scriptures also say Vyasa Narayana Swayam. In this way, he's directly Lord Narayana because he's the potency of the Lord. And he appeared today, and he is Krishna Dvaipayan Vedavyas. So in the morning program, we discuss about that. His name is Krishna Dvaipayan Vedavyas. Krishna because he is blackish, and because he's the same Krishna, he's the incarnation of the Lord. And Dvaipayan because he was born on an island. Remember we discussed in the morning the beautiful story about how Satyavati, before she was known as Matsyagandha, the daughter of the boatman, was actually originally the daughter of the Apsara. Remember we discussed in the morning? And the womb of the Apsara fell in the water. The fish ate that womb. The fish got a baby in his tummy. Then the fisherman took the fish, saw the beautiful girl, when he killed the fish, he found a baby girl inside the fish. Then he gave this girl to the boatman, and then he raised her. She was so pretty because she was the daughter of an Apsara that was flying in the sky. But she was very stinky because she lived in the womb of a fish when she was still an embryo. So that's why her name is Matsyagandha. Remember we discussed this in the morning. Matsya means fish, Gandha smell. And one day, so she was raised by the boatman. One day, Parashara Rishi, the great sage, was crossing the Jamuna river, and then he asked her to drive him. Actually, her father was busy, and he told her to do it. And actually, I'm thinking when I tell you the story, my mind is going through that series of them. I recommend those who haven't watched Mahabharata in the TV, means YouTube, you can watch. The old one from the director called Chopra. Very nice. Very recommended also. That one, the old one. So you can, it's so good to watch this pastime because then you remember so much better. If you only read, but if you see, then you don't forget. So I remember the scene. Then Satyavati is so pretty, means Matsyagandha. She's taking the Rishi, and in the middle of the river, Parashara Rishi starts looking at her. Those who have seen, it's very, very nice. Parashara Rishi is looking at her, and then like something happened, like some wind or something, just to show us that she's actually getting pregnant from his glance. And then because that was a different age, so she got pregnant from his glance. And then she was like, oh, what is this? I'm a virgin, I'm not married. What does society say? The Rishi says, don't worry. And then they stop at an island, in the Jamuna river. And immediately she gives birth. And the baby coming from her womb actually already becomes an adult immediately. And he says, mother, I'm going to perform austerities. But whenever you need me, remember me, and I'll come. And then Parashara Rishi said, don't worry, because this child you just gave birth to, he is very, very, he's the directly manifestation of the Lord, the direct incarnation of the Lord, and he will be responsible for manifesting all Veda Purana Upanishads, for writing all the Vedas. So he's a very special personality. So Vyasadeva left. And from that moment on, also she got a blessing that she would not stink anymore. So that's why from that moment on, her name became, or she was known as Satyavati. So she's the mother of, sorry, I forgot. She was married to Shantanu Maharaj, right? And they had that Vichitra Virya and, what is the other name? Vichitra Virya and, I forgot their son's name, Vichitra Virya, and actually she didn't have children for a long time, but later on, what happened? No, sorry, I'm confusing the stories. So Satyavati's kids, now I'm confused, oh my god, I forgot. Vichitra Virya and the other son's name, who remembers? Let me search here now, I forgot. Vichitra Virya and so because Shantanu Maharaj already had Bhishma Pitamaha, right? Ganga Putra Bhishma was already his son. And that's why the whole Mahabharata took place. Because Bhishma, he was the best, like very, very, adhikari, like he was a heir to the throne after Shantanu Maharaj, the throne of Hastinapur. And Bhishma was very much qualified. But So much qualified, of course. He's the son of Ganga. He knows all the Tattva, Siddhanta, Shastra, weaponry, everything perfect. Okay, remember the name. Chitrangada. And then what happened? So Satyavati, what happened? When one of the conditions that the father of Satyavati set for Shantanu Maharaj, you remember the story, right? So Satyavati was very pretty. Shantanu Maharaj was attracted to her. He started coming and he wanted to marry her. Because Maharaj had married Ganga and then they had the son, Bhishma. But Ganga left and disappeared. And then he wanted to marry Satyavati now. But then one of the conditions that her father put, he said, the child which will be born from the womb of my daughter, they should sit on the throne, means be the king. And then what happened? Shantanu Maharaj couldn't take that condition. And he was so upset. He was day and night, not sleeping, not eating, because he was in love with her. And then knowing this, Bhishma himself came there. So he already had a son called Bhishma. Bhishma came and he said, if I am Bhishma, the son of Ganga, I promise I will make a vow which is harder even for all, it's hard even for all the demigods. So that time his name was called Devavrat. That was his name that time. So he said, if I am Ganga Putra, I will make the promise that I will never get married. Because they said, okay, the child of Satyavati will be on the throne. But if Bhishma also has a kid, maybe their kids will fight over the throne. And we don't want the hair should come from the lineage of Satyavati. So that's why Bhishma made it. Okay, so because then there will be no heirs to my lineage. And Bhishma took this. Bhishma, why he became known as Bhishma at that time? Bhishma means like very hard, or very like something very hard, something very, how can I say, like what is the word? Very hard to execute, something which is very, very tough. It means Bhishma, very, very hard. So he made this vow, which is very, very hard for anyone to make, even a demigod, to promise not to have children, or not to get married even, not to get married, so that he wouldn't get children. So it means brahmachari, right? Brahmachari until his death. So actually it's funny, one time in Guru Purnima, Gurudeva told us to perform this drama, this play of the birth of Vyasadeva, I remember. And then that's also a very good way to remember the pastimes, is through performing plays or organizing plays or watching plays about this. So in the end, the last scene was this. The last scene was Bhishma making this vow. Like the last scene of the drama was this. Gurudev told us to tell the story until that part. How Bhishma promised that he would be brahmachari his whole life. So Bhishma is, how to say nowadays, stepson of Satyavati, which is the mother of Vyasadeva, right? So means Bhishma and Vyasadeva are like kind of stepbrother, you could say. And then later on, the story of Mahabharata, Vyasadeva comes back because Satyavati needs him. So he comes back to Hastinapur and helps out the wives of the sons of Satyavati to have children. Because that time, in that age, if your husband is not available, his brother can also help you to have children. But remember, in Kali Yuga, this is forbidden. There's a verse, Gurudeva always mentioned this verse. In Kali Yuga, you cannot have sons with your deva, with your brother-in-law. But that time was possible. So that's why when Chitrangada and Vichitravira, they died, right, without having children. So Satyavati remembered Vyasadeva, her other son. Vyasadeva came and he impregnated the wives of Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Amba, Ambalika, right? Sorry, not the one who had left, the other Ambika. And so he impregnated them. And also the servant also came, and then he also impregnated her. And then the child born was Dhritarashtra, because Vyasadeva came after meditation, right? And he was very like ugly because he was doing austerity. So when that lady, so remember that time the conception was just by looking. They didn't need to touch or anything. So Vyasadeva came, and then when he saw, So the three sisters, right? Amba, Ambalika, and I forgot the other one. Amba, Ambalika, and Ambika, right? So Amba, Ambika, and Ambalika, right? So what happened? Okay. Amba was that one that was rejected later on, and then she became Shikandi, and then she was able to kill indirectly Bhishma in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Amba. But Ambika and Ambalika, they were married to the sons of Satyavati. And then what happened was when they came to see Vyasadeva, Vyasadeva was very ugly like this, so they saw him and then they closed their eyes. One of them closed their eyes like this, because and then he impregnated her. And then Vyasadeva said, oh, and then they asked, okay, how is this son gonna be? Vyasadeva said, she closed her eyes, so the son will be blind. So who is he? Dhritarashtra Uvacha, the blind king, Dhritarashtra, father of Duryodhana, Dushasana, and all these 100 bad people, the Kauravas, right? And then the other daughter-in-law of Satyavati came, and she met Vyasadeva. And when she saw him, she was afraid. And because of this fear, Vyasadeva said, look, her son, his health is going to be very weak, he's not going to be very strong. He's feeble, like weak. And then, who was born? Pandu. And then, but then the maid came. And then the maid loved to see Vyasadeva. Oh, he's so nice. He's a sadhu, doing austerities. A sadhu darshan. She was so happy. And she saw him, wow, sadhu, very nice. And because of this, Vyasadeva was able to give the full energy on her, nice energy, and good reception. And then Vyasadeva said, okay, now her son is going to be a very good soul, very uttam, very good person in morals, in character, in behavior. Who is he? Vidur. So, these are the characters of the Mahabharata. So, it's very nice. So, the role of Vyasadeva in the Mahabharata. And then, so why are we saying? So, sorry, a little bit came to the whole story, more of the story. But so Vyasadeva, he manifested the Veda, Purana, Upanishad, all the Vedas. Actually, the Vedas are eternal, like we were saying in the morning. That's why, and before they were passed on generations through the medium of hearing. That's why the name of Veda is also called Shruti, right? And then what happened? Vyasadeva, knowing that the jivas in Kali Yuga, we cannot remember anything. We need books, otherwise we cannot remember anything. Then what happened? Vyasadeva came and he wrote this eternal truth in books. So first manifested the four Vedas, Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharva Ved. Then he manifested all the Purana, Upanishad, fifth Veda, Mahabharata, Vedanta Sutra. But his mind was disturbed. And then Vyasadeva told him, it's because you, in your Vedas, in your scriptures, you didn't clearly describe what is the topmost goal of life, who is the Supreme Lord, who is the Swayam Bhagavan. You didn't make it clear. So people are disturbed by reading your book. So you have to now manifest the latest book, the latest Purana, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this book, you have to clearly say what is the topmost goal of human life, which is Krishna Prem. You have to tell all the pastimes of Krishna in sequence. You have to tell clearly that Krishna is the Swayam Bhagavan, the Supreme Lord. And also you have to mention about this pure love of Vrindavan. This pure love you have to mention there. This love that can control the Lord, this Vraja Prem, you have to say it. So Narada said, because you didn't speak about this anyway. And then, in details, right? So then Vyasadeva, he practiced Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yogena Manasi Samyak Pranihite Amale Pashade Parasham Purnam Mayam Tapat Upashrayam. He practiced Bhakti Yoga. He was able to have darshan of Krishna, have darshan of Maya, how Maya is far away and ashamed. And he was able to attain all this realization, and then he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the topmost book of the Vedas, which is the ripened fruit of the desire tree of the Vedas. Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam shukamukad amritadrava samjutam Pibata Bhagavatam Rasanam Alayam Muhora Horasika Bhuvi Bhavuka. So, another point also that they need to speak today, actually this point we didn't speak in the morning, is about what Gurudeva again and again he says, which might be complicated for some people, but we need to understand, which is the fact that Mahaprabhu actually he set out the perfect mood of the Vyasa Puja. So let's understand a little bit about the history behind this fact, okay? So, Vyasadeva, he wrote the Vedas, right? And then what happened? Because as you know, there are many, many different ways of understanding the Vedas and also different instructions for different people in different qualifications. So means all the people, like spiritual people, in all kinds of sampradayas, they see Vyasadeva as their guru because Vyasadeva wrote the Vedas. And remember, Vyasa means one who spread, is diameter of a circle. Like, who spread from the center to the border. So one who is spreading Krishna katha to this world. Krishna is the center. Those who are spreading are Vyas. So that's why the bona fide gurus are also called Vyas. And the worship to them is Vyasa Puja or Guru Puja. So all the people from all sampradayas, they worship also Vyasadeva. But actually, in the line of Srila Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada, we worship Vyasadeva, but generally we worship our own Gurudev on the appearance day of our Gurudev, correct? In the general Gaudiya Mat is like that. But in these other sampradayas, for example, they worship their Guru also together with Vyasadeva. But then you can say, but nowadays we also worship together Gurudev today. So that's actually a speciality that took place from Srila Gurudeva, Srila Sanatana Goswami Maharaj. So let's again explain. So other sampradayas, they worship all the Gurudevs together with Vyasadeva because they are also spreading the message, okay? But actually the Vyasa Puja is not perfect, and we'll speak about it now. And coming back to the Gaudiya Mat, Srila Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada established that yes, we worship Vyasadeva, but we also will give more honor to our Gurudev more in the day of his appearance, and then we glorify the Guru Puja, Vyasa Puja that day. So actually, Gurudeva, our Gurudeva, has mentioned this in the Harikatha, which I'm telling you. Gurudev said that when Srila Gurudeva, and many of you probably know this, when Gurudeva, Srila Narayana Goswami Maharaj was preaching in Mathura that time, and you know how difficult it was to preach this thing that came from Bengal, right, Gaudiya Mat, to the Mathura Vasis, to the people of the Vrajavasis, the people of North India. Then what happened? One devotee, I forgot the name, he came and told Gurudeva, look, if you want to preach here in Mathura, you have to do very nice festival in the Guru Purnima. Because what happened in other Gaudiya Mats, it's of course a festival they observe, means glorifying Vyasadeva, but it's not like Janmashtami, It's of course a nice festival, Prashadam, everything, Harikatha, but it's not like Janmashtami. It's just a festival. But this devotee told Gurudeva, if you want to preach in Mathura, you have to make a big celebration in the Guru Purnima. And then from Gurudeva, this are in our Gurudev temple, and the temples coming this tradition. So you can see in Gurudev's time, I couldn't see, but I heard how it was a big celebration in Mathura, even later also in Delhi, all the Gurudev's temple, all the sadhus coming, sitting on the chair, millions of people, thousands of people coming, doing pranam, giving donation to the sadhu, coming that day to worship Guru, because it's a tradition in Vraj also. That day, if maybe you follow what Gurudev said or not, but you go in the temple that day and you offer your pranam and you offer donation, and also this habit, like you give something to the Gurudev and then he'll give you Kantimala. So in Braj, that's tradition. You change your Kantimala, let's say like this. On that day, they have this. Because Gurudev gives you a new Kantimala. That's just tradition, I'm telling. But Gurudeva also was following that. So I remember, I only had a chance, I think, one time to be in Guru Purnima in India. But I saw, oh my Krishna, I was in Delhi temple, and Gurudev was also there. Was Janmashtami. Or maybe, of course, their Janmashtami is even bigger, but for me, it was comparing to Janmashtami, like full, people everywhere. And all the sadhus sitting, like all Maharaj, Gurudev also sitting on a chair, and people they are not stopping, coming whole day. Lines of people coming, doing pranam, giving gifts, giving food, giving donation, and then Gurudev give blessing and give a new Kantimala to the person. Non-stop. And I was so like, wow. So this tradition came from Param Gurudev. In other Gaudiya Matas, it's not that big a festival because they worship Vyasadeva, but not necessarily that day they're going to worship their Acharya. But of course, that's also bona fide because all the Acharyas, they are also manifestation of the bona fide Guru. He's spreading the Harikatha, just like Vyasadeva, who is spreading this Krishna Katha in this world. So Guru Puja is Vyasa Puja, right? That's why on the appearance day of our Gurudev, we do Guru Puja, Vyasa Puja. And also there is the Vyasa Panchakam. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained how to properly worship Guru. So there's 5 Panchakams, and each of them have Vyasa Panchakam. Yes. Sorry, 7 Panchakams, and then each one has 5 personalities, then total is 35. So you, who remembers now the whole list? But basically you worship like Krishna and his main incarnations like Baladev Prabhu and like this. And then you have also the disciples of Vyasadeva. Then you have the 4 Kumaras. Then you have the your Guru, Param Guru, Parameshti Guru, like all the Gurus in the Guru Parampara like this. And I forgot one more. Who remembers? I just skipped one. Vyasa Panchakam. So sometimes Gurudeva tells in details. I think maybe yesterday he spoke about it. Okay. Later we can discuss in details all the Vyasa Panchakam, and sometimes Gurudeva also for fire sacrifice he will put the names of all these, especially also in the Vyasa Puja festival. I remember I heard in Brazil when there was Guru Puja for Param Gurudev, Vyasa Puja. Last Param Gurudev's Vyasa Puja in this world was in Brazil, and then Gurudev they put small flags for all these personalities that are worshipped on the day of Vyasa Puja. I forgot all the names. I had the list here. Whoever has, please send to me all the lists. Yes, so good. But and then, so this is the proper way of worshiping. So in the day of his appearance day, like Gurudev's appearance day, he's actually worshiping all his previous acharyas and teaching his disciples how to always worship their guru. And I mean, worshiping his guru, the whole Guru Parampara. Okay, now another point that we have to discuss, because we didn't speak about it today, and sorry, that's a bit hard for some people to understand, which is the fact that Gurudev was explaining the Vyasa Puja of the Mayavadis is not actually Vyasa Puja. So this is a very important point that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu established. Actually, this has to do with Mahaprabhu also. In Mahaprabhu time, he met Prakashananda Saraswati. And Mahaprabhu told him that the Mayavadis, they are not following Vyasadeva correctly. Because the Mayavadis, they say, Vyasir sutrere kohe parinamvad, Vyasabranti bole taha uthailo vibad. So they say that Vyasadeva, when he spoke about parinamvad, he went crazy. So this is what they say. Branti. Vyasa Branti Boli. They say like this. That Vyasadeva went, Branti means crazy, when he wrote about Parinamvad. So Mahaprabhu told Prakashananda Saraswati, this is a big, big problem. Because how can you accept Guru but not accept Guru's instructions and his teachings? So this is the Ardha Kutu Nyabichar, is the logic of the half chicken, right? Gurudeva telling this story. When two a father died and his siblings wanted to share everything equally. And the father had 1 chicken. And how will you share a chicken? You cannot cut the chicken in the middle, otherwise he'll die. So, okay, you feed the mouth and I'll take the eggs. But who will be feeding and who will take the eggs? You cannot share a chicken in this way. So in the same way, you cannot accept Guru, but I don't accept what he's saying, his instructions. It's impossible. If you're not accepting the instruction of the Guru, means whatever he's saying, the conceptions he's giving, the Tata Siddhanta, the Vichar, means you're not accepting Guru. That's why Mahaprabhu said the Vyasa Puja of the Mayavadi is actually a joke. I forgot now what is the Bengali word. Who remembers? Is a joke. Parihas, I think. Is a joke. Because joke in this sense is like a show, right? Because they are doing it, but they are saying that the Guru went crazy. They are saying that Vyasadeva went crazy. So if the Guru went crazy, then what about you, right? What is going to be of you? Okay, this is understood, but let's understand why the Mayavadis are not accepting what Vyasadeva is saying. Why? Parinam Vad. So they don't accept Parinam Vad. What is the meaning of Parinam Vad? Parinam Vad. What is the meaning of that? Parinam Vad means the theory of transformation. Right? So they don't accept it because the Mayavad philosophy is based on the following affirmation. They say Brahma Satya. Brahma Satya means only one supreme truth, Brahma, energy. This Brahma, this supreme transcendence, has no form, only light. So Brahma Satya Jagat Mita. The world is false. Jiva Brahma Epa Naparaha. There's no difference between the soul and God. So the soul is actually an illusion. There's no soul. Now we are divided in different bodies and different souls like this because we're an illusion. When the Maya is removed, then we will understand that we are actually Brahma, the same undivided light of energy, the transcendence, the supreme transcendence. So the Mayavadis, they don't acknowledge the presence of the Shakti of Lord, the potency of the Lord. Because they say there is only one supreme truth, Brahma. Brahma means the transcendence or the absolute, which is Nishakti, Nirashakti, no potency, Nirvishesh, right? No qualification, no form. But what happens is that instead of one Brahma, we have two truths: Brahma, God, and his potency, Brahma Shakti. So, like we all know in our Vaishnava philosophy, Brahma, God, is always with his potency, and they are non different from each other. Just like the sun and the heat, the fire and the heat, it's inseparable. Like this, the fire and the heat, or the sun and its rays, is like, and the rays of the sun, you cannot separate the heat and the fire. The fire has the quality of being hot, and that's inseparable. So God is always with his potency, and that potency makes him who he is even. Right? So Lord is Anandamoy, full of bliss. Rasoy Vaisaha, full of mellows. Why? Because he's always with his potency, because the potency makes him like that. So that's why Satchirananda, right? If you remove the Ananda, the bliss, and what is Lord? Brahma is like just effulgence. Lord is only happy, only has all that happiness and taste and mellows and pastimes and all that because of the potency. Potency of desire, potency to create, potency to make things. So Lord has many potency, but three are topmost. Chit Shakti, that manifests all the spiritual world and the spiritual, whatever is in the spiritual world. Second, Jiv Shakti, which manifests the Jivas, the souls from Tatastha Shakti, marginal potency. And third, Maya Shakti, which manifests the material world, the shadow. So, this is the philosophy. But the Mayavadis, the monists, or those who think the soul is God and God has no form, which is Mayavad philosophy, they think there's only one supreme truth, which is Brahma. And that Brahma doesn't have a potency. So they don't accept Parinamvad, because that would be against the principles they preach. So what is Parinamvad? Coming again, the theory of transformation. So what is transformation? Something that transforms into something else. Example giving, the milk transforms into yogurt. When that milk transforms into yogurt, that yogurt can never become milk again, correct? So one thing that transforms in the other. There are two kinds of Parinamvad, theory of transformation. One is called Shakti Parinamvad, theory of transformation of the energy of the Lord, and the other is called Vastu Parinamvad, theory of transformation of the God itself, or God himself. So what is that? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he introduced this Shakti Parinamvad, which is actually what we follow. Our line of Tata Siddhanta is Shakti Parinamvad. Especially Mahaprabhu established Achinta Bheda Bheda Tata Siddhanta. The non-difference and difference at the same time. Okay, let's discuss this now. What is Vastu Parinamvad? So, if you think that God himself, he transformed himself and became, for example, the spiritual world, the jivas, the material world. So that's one thing. That's called Vastu Parinamvad. It means you're thinking that Lord is transforming himself into the different things that exist. But still, just like the yogurt cannot become milk again, just because the soul came from God doesn't mean that the soul can become God. So Vastu Parinamvad makes this difference. Cannot be like the source, no. But Shakti Parinamvad is more specialized. Why? Because it's not God that transforms. It's his energy. So that's the point which is very special. God, Shakti Mammatar Dayora Beda. There's no difference between God and his potency. Yes. So that's why in one way we can say that everything is non-different from Krishna. Because there's no difference between God and his potency. That's why we can say in a way that nothing is different from Krishna. Even this, this phone cable, non-different. Because what is this phone cable here? These earphones. Is Maya Shakti, right? Material potency. Inert. But the inert matter comes from, is a Shakti, potency of God. And there's no difference between God and his potency. That's why in a way you can say it's not different from Krishna. So that's Shakti Parinamvad. Who transforms into different things? Jivas, bodies, spiritual world, is the potency of Krishna. So Krishna has Ananta Shakti, multifarious energies, and they manifest everything that exists. And in a way you can say they are no different from the Lord because there's no difference between God and his potency. So did you understand the thread of thought I made? I hope you have understood. So we came from Vastu Parinamvad, passing through Shakti Parinamvad, and then we landed on Achinta Bheda Bheda Tata Siddhanta. Do you understand? So we started in Vastu Parinamvad, the example of milk becoming yogurt. A hypothesis, like a kind of a theory that says everything comes from God, which is true, but directly. They are not necessarily acknowledging the energy of the Lord. They're just saying everything is a transformation of it. But in the case of milk and yogurt, the yogurt cannot again become milk. But then more refined, Mahaprabhu introduced also. Mahaprabhu also discussed Shakti Parinamvad. Actually, everything is the transformation of the energy of the Lord. Not of the Lord directly, but his energy. But of course, there's no difference between him and his energy. That's why in a way, nothing is different from the Lord. But at the same time, it is different from the Lord. Because it's not the Lord. It's a specific manifestation of his potency. So then you land on Achinta Bheda Bheda Tata Siddhanta. The supreme conclusion that an inconceivable difference and non-difference at the same time. But when the difference and non-difference is there at the same time, the difference is more prominent. Like us, we are souls, spiritual like Krishna, right? And we are the potency of Krishna, Jiva Shakti. But even though we are similar to Krishna, because we are also spiritual, the soul is spiritual, the soul is transcendental, we are very, very small. And Krishna is Brihat, the great conscious, supreme conscious being. We are controlled by Maya. Krishna is the owner of Maya. So because of the differences that we have from Krishna, this difference makes us more like, let's say like this, more closer to be different from Krishna than one. So the difference drives us apart from Krishna. Meaning like the difference is more prominent. Making clearly that actually we are not Krishna. But in a way you can say that the soul, of course, is also a manifestation of the Jiva Shakti, which is a potency of Krishna. So like in India, I heard, like some devotees told me, like in India, there is some kinds of sampradayas that they are thinking about the example Vastu Parinamvad. Everything came from Krishna, everything is non different from him because came from him. And then they come to the extent of example, worshipping a dog, worshipping stool, they do these kind of things just to show that everything is non-different. So, but our Tata Siddhanta is what? Achintya Bheda Bheda Tata Siddhanta, which has the basis on Shakti Parinamvad. Everyone understood? So that's why the Vyasa Puja of the Mayavadis is ludicrous. Isn't it? The translation of Chaitanya Charitamrita used this word, I think. Ludicrous. It's a joke. Because they are worshiping Vyasadeva, but they're not accepting Parinamvad, the theory of transformation. They said, that time Vyasadeva was crazy when he wrote about Parinamvad. Because if they accept this theory of transformation, then how will they establish that there's no energy? They say there's only God, no energy. So actually the Mayavadis, they are saying that Maya is bigger than God. They are not saying directly, but that's what happens. Because if you say that the Maya covered Brahma, means Maya illusion covered God, and now God thinks I'm a soul, then actually you're saying that Maya illusion is even bigger than God. But in the beginning you said that God is the supreme, Brahma is one, Brahma Satya. Do you understand? So if you think, like Gurudeva tried to tell us, if you analyze the Mayavad philosophy, you see actually is illogical. Doesn't make sense. From this point, example, you're saying that Brahma Satya, Brahma is the supreme, one God is supreme. Then you said that God is, I'm just translating because sometimes it's easier because the Sanskrit words may be hard for some people. So God is the supreme, and then God, the transcendence, is now covered by illusion. That's why he thinks he's a soul. So if you're saying, but something to cover someone else, actually that person, that thing which is covering is bigger than the person itself. Just like this, my jumper is covering my body because it's bigger than me. If it was smaller, it couldn't cover me. So if you're saying that, means Maya is bigger, means illusion is bigger than God. But in the first place, you said that God is the supreme. Brahma Satya, the only truth is God. So how can you say that Maya is bigger than him? So that's how in this way Gurudeva or Acharyas, they prove how the Mayavad philosophy is actually illogical. And by their own arguments, you can defeat them. So sometimes Gurudeva tells us this Mayavad philosophy so that we understand. Because otherwise, if you don't understand, how can you also discriminate and cut their philosophy? You have to also know. Because actually one of the biggest anarthas we can develop is Mayavad philosophy. Even worse than becoming a materialistic, Maya, like just enjoying, is to have this Mayavad in your heart. Because that's very hard to come out. Very, very, it's like Bajjaleb. The heart becomes hard like a thunderbolt. And then it's very hard to come out. This conception that I can become God. And me and God are the same. So, that's very important. Gurudev is trying to tell us this. That's why Mahaprabhu, when he was in this world, he showed how to properly worship Vyasadeva. And then Gurudev told this katha. And in the morning also we again repeated how Mahaprabhu, he asked Nityananda where they would celebrate Shiva's Vyasa Puja. And then Nityananda said, in the house of Shiva's Thakur. But Mahaprabhu left, he doesn't have money, how can he do the festival? Many people will come, need to arrange prasadam, gardens, everything. How? He's too poor. But then Shiva's Thakur told Prabhu, you are the Supreme Lord. Lakshmi Devi is your wife. The potency of the, you are the controller of Lakshmi. You're the Lakshmi Pati. So where you are, all the opulence is there, all the food, all the opulence, all the flowers, everything will manifest. Please let me have this chance to serve the Vaishnavas. And then by the blessing of, the Nityananda Prabhu also said, yeah, let him do it. And then Mahaprabhu agreed. And then the next day they performed the Vyasa Puja in the house of Shiva Thakur. Whole morning chanting holy names. Everybody came. Many, many, many devotees. And even demigods came. And the house was full of people. Many, many people coming, going, bringing food, bringing prasadam, bringing garlands. A huge festival. Because where Mahaprabhu is, everything shows up, manifests to serve the Lord. And it was almost midday. The devotees were hungry. And then Mahaprabhu told Nityananda, okay, now it's your turn to worship. Your time, you have to do the Vyasa Puja, worship of Vyasadeva. So they had like a kalash, like a pitcher representing Vyasadeva. Okay, you have to do the puja. And then because Nityananda was the foremost senior devotee, because he was disciple of Lakshmi Pati Tirtha, which is the guru of Madhavendra Puripada, and Madhavendra Puripada is the guru of Ishwara Puripada, and Ishwara Puripada is the guru of Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that's why Nityananda is the topmost senior. And then he was going to do the worship, but he was delaying. He was not. He held the garland, but he was not giving. And the devotees doing kirtan, and Mahaprabhu said, "Come on, everyone's hungry. Do it quickly." And then Nityananda, okay, going, and not going. And finally, after like 20 minutes, Nityananda finally took the garland and placed it on the neck of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu, why did you do this? Why? And then he said, because actually Krishna Vande Jagat Guru, the original Guru is Krishna himself. And you are that same Krishna. So we sing every morning, Krishna hoite chaturmukh, hoi Krishna sevamukh, Brahma hoite Narada Ramat, Narada hoite Vyas. So Vyasadeva, he composed the Vedas. His Guru is Narada Rishi. By the blessings of Narada, by inspiration Harikatha and of Narada, Vyasadeva attained all that realization. And Narada got it from Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma got it from Krishna himself. So Krishna Vade Jagat Guru. Krishna sent all the transcendental knowledge in the heart of Brahma through the sound of the flute. And the mantra, right? And then what happened? Nityananda in this way established that the original Guru is Krishna himself, and Mahaprabhu is not different from this Krishna. So this was the beautiful celebration of Vyasa Puja in the time of Mahaprabhu, by Mahaprabhu himself and all his associates. Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, Advaita Acharya, all of them. This event is described in Chaitanya Bhagavat, which is so beautiful. It's a very important book for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And today is also the very sacred disappearance of Sanatana Goswami Pad. And Gurudeva already spoke his life history, also in the class he gave in Hindi, and also so many times. I think in Brazil he has not yet spoken this time. I don't know, I didn't see all the classes, but I think he hasn't spoken this time yet, but maybe tomorrow he will speak about Sanatana Goswami. Or maybe he spoke already, do you know? But anyway, Gurudeva always gives so much emphasis. Like in the Hindi class, Gurudeva spoke about Sanatana Goswami, which is so important. So this is the meeting of Sanatana and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the Sambandha Acharya. He manifested the Thakurji called Madan Mohan, which represents the Sambandha, the relationship we have established with the Lord. And the feet of Madan Mohan is like Krishna's. Sanatana Goswami is so dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so dear. Sanatana Goswami is one of the 6 Goswamis. He is the brother of Rupa Goswami and Anupam, Vallabh. They were born in Bengal, Ramakeligram. He was very intelligent. That's why the Muslim king called Hussein Shah took him to work for him. So we don't have enough time about Sanatana Goswami in details, but I just wanted to tell one beautiful pastime that Gurudev says always. And I think also maybe today Gurudev will probably speak about him, I can hear more. And so how did they start working for the Muslim king? Sometimes Gurudev also tells this katha. That Muslim Hussein Shah, he wanted to build the biggest palace of all time. And then he hired an architect to do that. And then after the architect finished his work, he was showing the king around the castle, the palace. And then he pointed out and said, oh, there is a problem here. I think there was like something broken or something not properly done. And he said, oh yeah, this could have been better. This is not yet good. And then the king got so angry that he threw that architect from the roof on the ground and killed him immediately, like this, throwing him from such a height. And then the king got really, really angry. And then he said, go and get it, to his PA, to his personal assistant. And then the personal assistant went, but to get what? He didn't even know. But he was so afraid of the king that he would be killed. He went to try to find what the king wanted, but he didn't know what it was. And then he thought, if I come back without what the king wants, I'll be killed. And then the PA, the personal assistant, was searching, was actually desperate, in the town, right? So upset. And then he came across Rupa and Sanatan. Names were Amar and Santosh. And then they saw him in that condition. They said, what happened? And then he said the situation. And then, I don't know what I have to bring to the king. And then they said, okay, tell us, Sanatana Goswami asked, what that instruction? Then the PA told. And then Sanatana Goswami said, oh, that's very easy. He wants you to get another architect that will be able to finish that job and make it something even better than the other one. And then the PA went and got that professional, came back to the king. And then the king said, oh, how did you know? Yes, that's what I wanted. I didn't even tell you in detail, but you knew. And then the PA said, honestly, look, actually, I didn't know. One person advised me, and he told me that's what he wanted. And then the king was very satisfied. He said, wow. Yes, that person is very intelligent, Vichakan, very, very intelligent. I want him to work for me. So from that moment onwards, the king had Sanatana Goswami as his prime minister, advisor, everything. And the king has so much affection for him, like a younger brother. So the king is called Hussein Shah. But what happened? At one point, Mahaprabhu, when he was going to Vrindavan, he came to Rama Kaligram, and for the first time, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Sanat, they met Mahaprabhu. And then they told that beautiful verse, Namo Mahavadanyaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namne Gauratushe Namaha. And then Mahaprabhu told them, so they met, then it was a beautiful meeting, and they're all in ecstasy, and Mahaprabhu told them, very quickly give up these affairs, like your work, and come to me. And then Rupa Goswami was able to easily resign. Rupa Goswami, he was the Artha Mantri, means like financial minister of the king Hussein Shah. So he just wrote a resignation letter and the king let him go. But Sanatana Goswami was very dear to the king and like the prime minister, so the king would not let him go easily. And then Rupa Goswami resigned, he left to the shelter of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sanatana Goswami, how to go? He wanted to go, but he was working to the king, Muslim king. It's not easy. If the king doesn't want you to go, how can you go? So what happened? The king decided to attack Jagannath Puri. And then Sanatana Goswami said, no, I'm not going because they are devotees. How can I do that? So Sanatana Goswami pretended he was sick. But then the king suspected and sent Veda, a doctor, to Sanatana Goswami's house and saw that the doctor saw he was okay giving Harikatha at home, with the devotees. And then the king told, the doctor told, and then the king arrested Sanatana Goswami. Sanatana Goswami was in the prison. And in the prison, Sanatana Goswami got a letter from Rupa Goswami. And the letter said, Kagate Mathurapuri Kagata Uttara Koshala. Where is that Mathura? Where is that Ayodhya? So it's a symbolic word meaning, when Krishna came, he stayed in his earth for 125 years and then he departed. Shri Ramchandra came and also left. And Mahaprabhu is now here, but anytime he can go. So don't waste time and come quickly. Then Sanatana Goswami was able to somehow bribe the guard and leave the prison, and then he finally came to the shelter of Mahaprabhu. There's a long story, beautiful, told in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And how Sanatana Goswami finally arrived in Varanasi, in Kashi, and he had the darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he met him. And Sanatana Goswami got the instruction of Mahaprabhu that he should manifest Hari Bhakti Vilas, means the book for Vaishnava Sadachar, many books about Raga Bhakti, Vaidhi Bhakti, what is exactly Bhakti, especially Raganuga Bhakti, and also to go to Vrindavan, manifest the pastime places, and manifest the deities. So there's so much to be said also about Sanatana Goswami, but I think now the time is up. Hari Ananta, Harikatha Ananta, Lord is eternal, infinite, and his Harikatha is also infinite. So I just pray to Srila Gurudeva that we can do the proper Guru Puja. Also, we didn't even speak about this, Guru Puja. What is the meaning of Guru Puja? How to do Guru Puja? How to please Gurudeva? So just pray to Gurudeva that we are able to, by his mercy, we can get the qualification to fulfill his innermost heart desire, to serve him in a way that pleases him. And if we please Gurudeva, our life will be successful. Then we will attain all spiritual perfection by pleasing Srila Gurudeva. Vyasadeva para Bhakti. Like, if we please Gurudeva, if we have devotion to Gurudeva even more than to Krishna, we'll attain all the spiritual realizations. Like the Guru Ashtaka says, Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. We say that Sakshadaritena Samasta Shastrai Yuktastata Bhavyata Eva Shabdi Kintu Prabho Jaipriya Eva Tasya Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Gurudev is directly manifestation of Shri Hari. Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada Yasya Prasada Nagati Kutopi. Dayam Suvam Jashastri Sandhyam Bande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. If we get the mercy of Gurudev, we will get the mercy of the Lord. There's no other way to attain the spiritual realization other than the mercy of Shri Gurudev. So every day we worship His lotus feet, and we pray that we can actually do the worship, which is not only today, but every day, following the instruction of Guru, aiming to please Gurudev by the service on every day, then it's the real Guru Puja. Jai Srila Gurudeva ki Jai, Srila Sanatana Goswami Pad ki Jai, Jai Vyasadeva ki Jai, Guru Purnima ki Jai, Parashara Rishi ki Jai, Jai Vyasadeva Goswami ki Jai. Jai Jai Sri Radhe Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Srila Gurudeva ki Jai. If anyone would like to say anything, comments or corrections, please tell me. Any questions? Otherwise, see you next Monday, 8. Jai Srila Gurudeva ki Jai.